Deputy Assistant Secretary at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, who joins me live from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for being with us on the program. We're now hearing from the Wall Street Journal reporting that Trump has given the green light for strikes on Iran. How close could we potentially be now to active U.S. attacks on Tehran?
Well, yes, good morning to you and to your viewers. In fact, what is going on is that President Trump still holds out the possibility that Iran will accept his offer to resume diplomatic talks. And so what he has been trying to do is to get Iran to come back to the negotiating table and to accept an offer along the lines of what he gave 2.5 weeks ago that would call for the end of Iran's nuclear program, the end of its control over enrichment, and the end of U.S. sanctions that have been crippling Iran for decades. But if Iran is not prepared to come back to the table, then President Trump has always said that Iran cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapon and that he would use force if there was no alternative. But clearly he would very much prefer Iran to accept the alternative and begin negotiations again.
So it seems like the door to diplomacy is still very much open. Could a regime change potentially be on the cards of those negotiations if they happen?
Iran is not going to negotiate regime change. And in fact, although I know Prime Minister Netanyahu has said he wants that, that's not what's on President Trump's mind. He understands that the goal is to get an end to the Iranian nuclear program so that Iran is no longer a threat to the countries of the region. And that's the goal that he's focused on tonight.
Circling back to potential U.S. involvement in attacking Iran, how catastrophic of a scenario would that be if they don't reach some sort of an agreement at the diplomatic table?
Well, so Israel, as it has shown, has the military capacity to damage Iran's nuclear programs. It can attack surface facilities. It can destroy Iran's surface-to-air missile defenses. That's already been done. And it has the ability to carry out daring special operations. But only the United States has the capacity to actually destroy the Fordow nuclear centrifuge facility, which is buried underneath several hundred meters of rock. The United States has been for years developing heavy bombers and special bombs intended to penetrate through rock and carry out such a strike. It would be, the Iranian leaders face this choice. Option one is they agree to end their nuclear weapons program. They get the lifting of sanctions. The region can return to peace. But option two is they lose their nuclear program through military strikes, and they don't get the end of sanctions against them. And it's obvious that the first option is much better for the Iranian people than the second option.
During the early moments of this escalation between Iran and Israel, the United States had warned against Iran attacking U.S. assets and bases in the region. If this doesn't go with the first scenario that you laid out for us there, and escalates even further with Iran retaliating to the attacks, the incoming attacks from Israel and potentially from the United States moving forward, would they risk attacking U.S. bases moving forward in the region?
Well, that obviously is a concern. The problem from the Iranian standpoint is it's one thing if the United States strikes, nuclear weapons facilities buried underground. But if they were to attack American bases or personnel in the region, President Trump has already promised that the response would be much more massive than anything Israel has done. It's possible that the United States would carry out operations to target what's left of Iran's Air Force, what's left of Iranian ground units, what's left of Iranian naval units. Among other things, I expect that the United States would work quickly to make sure that Iran lost any ability to cut off oil shipments through the Straits of Hormuz. And so what you would see is a much larger U.S. military response than the more limited strikes that President Trump has been thinking about in the last few days.
Okay, Thomas Warrick, thank you so much for being with us here on TR2 World and sharing that analysis with us. I appreciate it.